Imagine opening your eyes one quiet morning and understanding something unmistakable, that the landscape of your life will not transform until you do. Not the office, not the skyline outside your window, not the people who orbit your world. You. Most individuals drift through their years in subtle avoidance. They wait for circumstances to rearrange themselves, while their deepest ambitions soften into distant echoes. But consider this. What if the pivot you've been anticipating is not an external event? What if it is a private resolve, a composed internal commitment to assume authorship of your own existence? This audiobook is not an invitation to pursue flawlessness. It is an invitation to choose direction, to end the quiet habit of postponement, to recognize that success does not arrive as a gift. It is constructed, decision by decision, action by action, day by deliberate day. Your life does not elevate when conditions improve. It elevates the moment you decide to refine the one factor fully within your command: yourself. Pause for a breath. Let this be a gentle awakening, because from this moment forward, the origin of everything is you. Now, observe your life with composure. Every outcome before you, refined or regrettable, is the echo of prior choices. This truth can feel heavy, because it dissolves the comfort of coincidence. The missteps were not merely misfortune. They were indicators, signals suggesting that leadership of the self had been surrendered. Many people remain suspended in anticipation, waiting for clarity, waiting for inspiration, waiting for the perfect alignment of events. But waiting is elegant in appearance and costly in effect. It quietly transfers your authority elsewhere. It persuades you that life is unfolding upon you, rather than unfolding through you. Real expansion begins at the precise moment you reclaim ownership of your hours, your mental discipline, your rituals, your vitality. And in that reclamation, a powerful realization emerges. If previous decisions shaped this reality, new decisions can elevate it. There is dignity in saying, I am responsible, not as self-punishment, but as self-command. It is the shift from accusation to authorship, from pointing outward to steering forward. Yesterday is unalterable, but tomorrow remains unwritten. Mistakes cannot be erased, but they can be transcended. Others cannot be controlled, but your response always can. That is maturity, the quiet evolution from reaction to creation. Perhaps life unfolded differently than you envisioned. Perhaps doors closed. Perhaps trust fractured. But how long will you continue rehearsing that narrative? At what moment do you rise, calmly, and decide the chapter changes here? Transformation does not commence when circumstances soften. It begins when you face what is demanding, when you release the expectation of rescue, when you move from "it wasn't my fault" to "it remains my responsibility." That subtle shift converts powerlessness into influence. It transforms irritation into intention. It reframes the question from "why me?" to "observe me." Ownership is not a dramatic declaration made once. It is a cultivated, disciplined practice daily. It lives in restrained decisions, rising when you promise yourself you would, honoring commitments invisible to others, selecting focus over indulgent distraction. It reveals itself in your inner dialogue when plans unravel. Do you descend into quiet self-defeat? Or do you respond with composed resolve? I will handle this. To take ownership does not require perpetual strength. It does not deny fatigue or difficulty. It requires steadiness. Standards upheld without an audience. Integrity maintained without applause. Because character is not forged in celebration. It is refined in silence. Consider this carefully. If your time is slipping away, reclaim it with intention. If your energy is compromised, guard with precision. If your ambitions are neglected, elevate them to priority. If your habits are scattered, reconstruct them deliberately. You are not powerless. You are simply without direction. Each day presents countless subtle crossroads, quiet decisions that sculpt your future. And with every delay, every excuse, every transfer of blame, a fragment of potential is surrendered. But the moment you decide to lead yourself, you retrieve it all, calmly, deliberately, completely. Gradually, something steady begins to return to you: clarity, concentration, a quiet certainty about where you are headed. This is why ownership is never a sentence. It is liberation. The instant you release blame, you release delay. And the instant you release delay, you re-enter your life fully. You may whisper to yourself, I don't even know where to begin. Begin with truth, not performance, not optimism. Truth. Examine the architecture of your days, your patterns, your diversions, your rationalizations. Notice what strengthens you. Notice what subtly diminishes you. Transformation does not demand spectacle. It asks for self-respect expressed in small, deliberate acts. Rising when you said you would. Completing what you initiated. Declining what compromises you. Accepting what stretches you. Each decision is a stone laid with care. And over time, those stones become the structure of a refined identity. Understand this clearly. Your evolution cannot be delegated. No advisor can exercise your discipline. No program can practice your restraint. No companion can embody your consistency. Guidance may illuminate the path, but only you can place your feet upon it. And when you assume full responsibility, you awaken from unconscious living. You stop drifting. You stop reacting. You begin designing. Intentionally, attentively, courageously. Will it feel uncomfortable? Certainly. Growth rarely feels elegant in the moment, but discomfort is evidence of expansion. It is confirmation that the old limitations are dissolving. Each day you postpone ownership, progress remains suspended. Each day you live deliberately, you become steadier, sharper, more composed. This is authentic success. Not flawlessness, not fortune, but disciplined honesty, measured effort, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing you honored your word to yourself. Pause now. Observe your current position without judgment. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are one sincere decision away from a markedly different trajectory. Deep down, you already recognize what must be done. The unfinished assignment, the conversation postponed, the discipline deferred until tomorrow. They are not awaiting perfect timing. They are awaiting commitment. Many assume their obstacle is insufficient motivation. In reality, it is refined avoidance. Planning feels productive. Imagining change feels safe. Distraction feels easier than decisive movement. Yet here is the undeniable principle. Your future is indifferent to your present emotions. It responds exclusively to your actions. Action is the passage between your current identity and your desired one. And that passage reveals itself only as you step forward. You do not require ideal circumstances. You do not require complete certainty. You do not even require confidence. Confidence is constructed through movement, never before it. Those who evolve, who transform, who succeed, share a singular trait. They proceed despite discomfort. Because discomfort is not opposition. It is transition. It is the quiet fracture of the former self. When you hesitate repeatedly, you condition your mind to elevate fear. When you act, you reestablish leadership. So release the illusion of a perfect moment. It will not arrive. Life will not suspend itself until you feel prepared. If you wait for calm, you will wait indefinitely. But the instant you move, life begins to align with your momentum. Reflect on those you admire. Each began with a decision, not at peak confidence, not in ideal readiness, but in refusal to remain stagnant. They ceased bargaining with excuses. They ceased seeking approval. They initiated. That is a distinction between attempting and executing. Attempting entertains the possibility. Executing embodies a choice. Doing what is required is not dramatic. It is disciplined continuity. It is honoring small commitments repeatedly, especially in obscurity. It is rising and declaring, I may not feel inclined, but I will proceed. It is offering yourself the same loyalty you so readily extend to others. Treat your own word with reverence, as if it were a contract signed in ink that does not fade. Begin simply. Restore order to your surroundings. Refine your calendar. Silence the subtle interruptions that fracture your attention. Select one essential task for today, just one, and complete it before the world makes its demands. This is how momentum is cultivated. not through bursts of intensity, but through measured consistency, not through dramatic leaps, but through deliberate steps repeated daily. And as you practice this, something internal recalibrates. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin to recognize your own authority. You no longer wait for acknowledgement. You understand quietly, I do not require instruction. I possess awareness. And yet, let's remain honest. There will be mornings marked by fatigue. There will be evenings when progress feels invisible. There will be moments when surrender appears seductive. This is not failure. It is rhythm. Growth does not ascend in a perfect line. It unfolds in cycles. Falling, recalibrating, rising again. You will misstep. You will disrupt your own routines. But missteps do not signify defeat. They signify movement. And movement, even imperfect, surpasses stagnation every time. There's a refined satisfaction in fulfilling your own commitments. No recognition, no audience, only the composed certainty that you honored yourself. That quiet satisfaction builds resilience. That integrity reshapes identity. And once you establish trust with yourself, you become unwilling to betray it. You stop pursuing fleeting motivation. You begin pursuing measurable progress. So consider this your invitation. Release the need for ideal emotional conditions. Move in the correct direction regardless. Identify one area of your life requiring attention and address it, even if it appears minor, even if it feels inelegant, even if it remains unseen. Because unseen actions construct unseen foundations. Act now, not eventually, not when convenient. Now, life advances with those who move. It bypasses those who hesitate. Each time you follow through, you revise your identity. You cease being the one who almost began. You become the one who completes. That is where freedom resides. That is where confidence matures. That is where success quietly originates. In private moments of resolve, when no applause is offered, yet everything transforms. Understand this. Your external environment reflects your internal condition. If your thoughts are congested, your days will mirror that congestion. If your mind is restless, your schedule will echo that unrest. You do not require additional noise. You require clarity. And clarity begins with internal refinement. Your habits, your recurring thoughts, your repeated behaviors. These silent patterns are constantly shaping who you become. Every day, through choices so subtle they appear insignificant, you are either constructing yourself or dismantling yourself. The device you reach for at dawn, the narrative you repeat internally, the habits you dismiss as harmless, left unexamined, they assume authority over your direction. It is rarely one dramatic error that restrains you. It is the accumulation of small, rehearsed patterns. So familiar they feel permanent. They whisper, "This is simply who I am." But that is illusion. It is not who you are. It is who you have practiced being. And anything practiced can be reshaped. Begin modestly. Conduct a personal inventory without criticism. Ask yourself calmly, what am I permitting that no longer aligns with who I intend to become? Perhaps it is a behavior, perhaps a belief, perhaps a daily rhythm that quietly drains you. Whatever it is, articulate it, because what remains unnamed remains unchanged. Awareness is the first refinement. You cannot restore what you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot elevate what you continually evade. Now, observe your physical surroundings. Do they invite composure or chaos? Do they enhance your focus or fragment it? Your environment is a reflection of your inner discipline. A disordered room often conceals a disordered mind. A cluttered desk frequently mirrors scattered thought. Restoring order is not about aesthetics. It is about sovereignty. It is a declaration. I am worthy of clarity. When you eliminate external noise, you create space for internal stillness. And within stillness, direction becomes unmistakable. When your surroundings are ordered, your thoughts begin to expand. But true refinement extends far beyond surfaces. It reaches into your energy. Pause and consider, where is your energy being invested? Who receives it? What consumes it? Are you encircled by those who elevate your standards? Or those who quietly exhaust your spirit? Do your conversations inspire clarity? Or merely recycle familiar anxieties? Are your hours devoted to what sharpens your mind? Or to what gently dulls it? Energy, once dispersed, never returns in identical form. It must be directed with discernment. Not every invitation deserves acceptance. Not every presence deserves proximity. Begin by releasing emotional residue, lingering resentments, silent rivalries, narratives you rehearse about what should have unfolded differently. These are invisible burdens, and burdens, when carried long enough, become identity. You are not required to erase the past. You are required to stop nourishing it, learn from it, extract wisdom from it, but do not reside within it. A new chapter cannot be written while you remain absorbed in revising the last. Now turn inward. When silence surrounds you, what tone does your inner voice carry? Does it reinforce you or quietly diminish you? Your internal dialogue becomes the climate of your existence. Guard it carefully. Replace I cannot with I am learning. Replace I have failed with I am evolving. The mind accepts repetition as truth. Offer it language worthy of belief. Inner refinement is not ceremonial. It is continual. Each day deposits subtle layers of distraction. Fleeting doubts, minor irritations, ambient noise. Left unattended, they accumulate. So you must practice daily clearing. Establish boundaries. Select stillness over constant stimulation. Step away from chaos. Even when chaos feels familiar, do not confuse activity with meaning. Do not mistake volume for advancement. True advancement is understated. It feels steady, grounded, measured. Peace cannot occupy a space overwhelmed by excess. Space must be created for it. If your thoughts feel relentless, begin with 5 intentional minutes of silence. If your emotions feel entangled, articulate them on paper. If your energy feels scattered, regulate your breath. Slow, deliberate, controlled. This is how you recalibrate. This is how you return to yourself. Each act of internal clearing restores concentration, strengthens presence, lightens your existence. And as your inner landscape becomes ordered, your external world naturally aligns. Objectives feel attainable. Habits feel precise. Direction feels illuminated. Clarity within produces clarity without. So today, pause deliberately. Survey your environment. Survey your mind. Identify what no longer belongs. Remove the distraction. Release the resentment. Reorganize your space. Exhale what has grown heavy. Because every act of clearing, internal or external, reaffirms a powerful truth. You are not immobile. You are simply surrounded by excess noise. Reduce the noise, and your next movement becomes unmistakable. Each day presents a decision. Expansion or comfort. Comfort feels agreeable, predictable, secure, but prolonged comfort is subtle erosion. It diminishes capacity gradually, one convenient choice at a time. Expansion, by contrast, is rarely soothing. It requires more. It stretches your thresholds. It demands discipline when rest tempts you, and courage when hesitation whispers delay. This is the exchange required for refinement. You cannot preserve comfort and pursue growth simultaneously. A choice must be made. Many select minimal resistance. They repeat familiar patterns and label it contentment. But stillness without progress is quiet resignation. Authentic peace is not stagnation. It is the assurance that you are advancing towards something significant, even through difficulty, even through discomfort. Growth is not cultivated in ease. It is forged in resistance. When you proceed, despite it, you advance when you consistently choose a difficult path, again and again, until it reshapes your reality. Growth feels unfamiliar because it confronts the person you thought you were. It requires releasing the version of yourself content with comfort and ease. And letting go of comfort is not merely physical. It's emotional. It means dismantling habits that once offered relief. It means establishing boundaries that might unsettle others. It means declining activities that no longer align with your true direction. This is not selfishness. It is self-respect. You are not turning away from a world. You are simply refusing to remain anchored in stagnation. Consider the contrast. Comfort whispers, "You're fine where you are." Growth insists, "You are capable of more." One soothes, the other challenges. Only one carries you to a place you have never been. You do not need to despise comfort. You simply need to stop revering it, because comfort is not the goal. It is the test. It arrives daily, asking whether you will choose ease or integrity. And each time you opt for growth, you cultivate a strength that is quiet, steady, and unshakable. When you rise before dawn instead of surrendering to sleep, you grow. When you speak your truth rather than remain silent, you grow. When you take the step you've avoided, you grow. Every deliberate choice against comfort is a seed of transformation. Growth does not happen overnight. It unfolds subtly through consistent discipline, unwavering honesty, and choices made in private. Prepare yourself. Growth is not neat. It is unpredictable. It will test patience, focus, and ego. You will feel the urge to retreat. You will be tempted to return to comfort. This is normal. The mind clings to familiarity, even when familiarity confines you. Remember this. You were not created for ease. You were created for evolution. You were never meant to live small, repeating the same familiar cycles. You were meant to surpass your fears, transcend your excuses, and outgrow the version of yourself that clung to comfort for security. When faced with a choice between convenience and integrity, pause. Ask yourself, which choice leads me toward growth? Then commit. Even if it frightens you, inconveniences you, or goes unnoticed. Comfort will always whisper reasons to remain, but your future self waits for you to step forward. Here's the paradox. The more you choose growth, the more it becomes familiar. Discomfort ceases to feel like pain. It begins to feel like purpose. You start craving challenge. You begin to honor the process. You recognize how far you've come, not because life grew easier, but because you became stronger. Then it becomes clear. Growth was never the enemy. It was the invitation. So breathe deeply. Observe where comfort has kept you confined. Ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? Simply because it feels safe? Release it. Allow fear to become guidance. Allow tension to teach you. Allow progress to replace perfection. The person you aspire to become exists beyond comfort. You will never meet them by clinging to ease. Growth is not a destination. It is a daily choice. To rise when rest tempts you. To show up when hiding feels easier. To advance when inertia beckons. Choose growth today, tomorrow, and the day after. Eventually, you will look back and recognize that each hard choice was never punishment. It was proof. Proof that you had the courage to become your highest self. Character is tested not in public, but in the quiet spaces where no one witnesses. No applause is given and no score is kept. That is where discipline resides. That is where integrity flourishes. That is where the person you claim to be meets the person you truly are. Consistency is easy when others are watching. Motivation is simple when results are expected. But what about the moments when it's only you and your promises? Those moments reveal everything. Your true standards reveal themselves when no one is observing. When you could skip the work and no one would notice. When excuses would let you slide unseen. That is, when the measure of your character emerges. That is when you either honor yourself quietly or erode your integrity. Accountability is not about fear of scrutiny. It is about alignment with truth. It is a choice to live in harmony with your commitments. When you declare, "I will do this," and you follow through, even if unseen, you forge something profound, internal credibility. It is not flashy. It is not celebrated. Yet it carries immense power. Because when your word matters to you, external validation becomes irrelevant. You become self-directed, unshakable. We live in a world obsessed with display, sharing progress, broadcasting success. But the strongest individuals often operate quietly. They build, train, and evolve in silence, understanding that real accountability is not about visibility. It is about solidity. When you trust yourself in private, you become unstoppable in public. Let's be candid. We all have moments of compromise. Moments when we say, asterisk, just this once. It's fine. Asterisk, perhaps no one else notices. But you do. Your subconscious keeps a record. Each lapse subtly teaches that your word carries less weight. And over time, those tiny fractures erode your foundation. The reverse is equally true. Each time you uphold your word, inconvenient or challenging, you broadcast a message to your mind. I am reliable. Confidence grows not from praise, but from proof. Accountability in silence is not perfection. It is consistency. You will falter. You will miss a step. What matters is whether you realign yourself without external prompting. This is growth. This is leadership. This is maturity. Leadership is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself. And self-mastery is not a spectacle. It is a quiet, daily, unseen practice. So how do you cultivate accountability when no one is watching? Step 1 asterisk, keep one promise today. It does not matter how small. Rise when you said you would. Complete a task you delayed. Follow through on your word. This is integrity in motion. Step 2 asterisk, track your habits privately, not for recognition, but to witness your own honesty. Record it. Be your own observer. Step 3 asterisk, reflect each night. Ask, did I live today as the person I aspire to be? If not, do not condemn. Adjust. Try again tomorrow. Discipline is not punishment. It is alignment. Accountability in silence is not glamorous. It is slow, repetitive, often solitary. Yet it is the birthplace of self-respect. When you live in alignment, you cease feeling like a fraud. You stop chasing motivation. You feel a quiet, unwavering confidence. I am doing what I said I would do. This sensation outlasts any compliment, for it does not fade. And soon, the external world begins to mirror the discipline you cultivated in private. Opportunities arise. Respect increases. Trust emerges. Not because of what you declare, but because your consistency is palpable. You attract what you embody. Discipline draws trust, respect, and results. Here lies the paradox. The more you invest in quiet consistency, the louder your life becomes. Tonight, as you prepare for tomorrow, remember, no one may be watching, but your future self is, waiting to see whether you will choose comfort or commitment, ease or integrity. Every small act of honesty is a message sent forward. I showed up, even when unseen. True strength does not require witnesses. It requires truth. And the most powerful promise you can ever make is the one you keep with yourself. True success does not begin with applause. It begins in quiet, in the steady, unseen practice of showing up each day for the life you committed to creating. Ask yourself, who do you want to become? Not in theory, not someday, but right now. What does your best self look like, think like, act like when no one is observing? Take a moment. Visualize that version of you. Calm, confident, consistent, focused. They do not squander time. They do not question their value. They move through life with quiet assurance. Now consider this. What if that person is not somewhere far ahead? What if they already exist within you, waiting for you to start showing up as them? Becoming your best self is not about waiting for transformation. It is about living it now. Identity is not discovered. It is decided. You do not first become confident and then act confident. You act confident and confidence forms. You do not wait to be disciplined before taking action. You act, and discipline grows through repetition. You do not wait for your future self to appear. You create them through the choices you make today. Consider this. Every action you take is a vote for the person you are becoming. Focus, a vote for your future self. Patience over frustration, another vote. Progress over excuses, yet another. Laying the foundation of who you will be tomorrow. It does not happen overnight, but gradually, those small votes shape identity. Most people believe change comes when life improves. The truth is, life improves when you change. Your habits determine your direction. Your direction shapes your identity. Your identity defines your future. Behave as the same person each day, and your life remains unchanged. Act as the person you aspire to be, and you begin to become them moment by moment. This is not pretending. It is alignment. Pretending is false. Alignment is truth expressed early. When you live as your future self today, you are not deceiving the world. You are guiding it. You are teaching your mind what is normal for you. Once your mind believes it is possible, it begins to build proof. It filters opportunities. It rewires habits. It begins to make your future feel natural. Imagine two versions of yourself waking tomorrow. Version 1. Hits snooze, scrolls endlessly, complains about tiredness, rushes through the day feeling behind. Version 2. Rises, breathes deeply, stretches, sets a small morning goal, and moves into the day with intention. Which version is closer to the life they desire? It is not magic. It is identity in action. Every morning, you cast a vote for who you will become. No one else can cast that vote. Becoming your future self is not about waiting for motivation. It is about embedding habits that reflect that identity. If your future self is calm, practice stillness now. If your future self is financially free, honor your money now. If your future self is strong and healthy, care for your body now. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait for external approval. Start where you are with what you have and act as if you already are the person you aim to be. The mind does not need to see results to believe. It needs to witness consistency. Ask yourself, what will my future self thank me for today? Staying disciplined or procrastinating? Setting boundaries or people-pleasing? Investing time wisely or wasting on distractions? Every decision is a dialogue between who you are now and who you are becoming. Your future self is watching, waiting for you to rise. The key to transformation is identity alignment. Stop saying, I want to change. Start saying, this is who I am now. The moment you shift your inner language, everything else follows. Your habits, your energy, your focus. Because identity is the most powerful driver of action. When you truly see yourself as that kind of person, your behavior aligns naturally, effortlessly, consistently. Pause for a moment. Visualize your future self again. Calm, disciplined, radiant, purposeful. Breathe deeply and invite that version of you into the present. How do they sit? How do they speak? How do they think? How do they navigate this day? Now act today as if that version of you already exists. You don't need every answer. You just need to begin living as though you belong in the life you envision. Because when you step into your future self now, the future begins to respond to you. Every choice, every deliberate action, every small act of integrity propels you toward the version of yourself you've always imagined. And one morning, you will wake and realize you are no longer pretending. You have become it. Time is the one resource you cannot reclaim. Wealth can be rebuilt. Relationships can be mended. Dreams can be restarted. But not a single lost hour. Mastering time is not merely about productivity. It is about respect. Every hour is a fragment of life you will never regain. Most people lose time quietly, incrementally. 10 minutes scrolling, half an hour distracted, another later. Time does not vanish. It transforms. Each second converts into progress or regret, fulfillment or frustration. The real question is not, where did the time go? It is, what did I trade it for? To transform your life, you must first transform how you spend your time. Time is more than minutes. It is energy, focus, and direction. When your hours are intentional, your life gains momentum. When your hours are squandered, your confidence erodes. Those who grow are not always the smartest or luckiest. They are the ones who stop treating time as disposable. They invested in what propels them forward, not what drains them. Here is a hard truth. If you don't protect your time, someone else will. Distractions, notifications, endless requests all compete for your attention. Every yes to the unimportant is a no to what truly matters. Learn to say no, calmly, clearly, confidently, not from coldness, but because your purpose demands protection. Every boundary you establish is a statement of self-respect. My time has value. Start simply. Track one day of your life with honesty. Where are your hours going? How much builds you, and how much is autopilot, busy yet fruitless? Awareness is the first step to mastery. You cannot fix what you do not see. Once you understand where your time goes, you will begin reclaiming it. Moments to reshape, routines to refine, distractions to remove. True time mastery is not doing more. It is doing less, but with excellence. Most confuse motion with progress. Busyness masquerades as achievement, but filling every moment leaves no space for thought, creativity, or growth. The aim is not activity. The aim is alignment. Do fewer things, but give each your full focus. That is how ordinary hours transform into extraordinary outcomes. Every morning, ask yourself, what will make today meaningful? Not perfect, not easy meaningful. When you start with meaning, you stop reacting and begin directing. Guard the first hour of your day. Make it sacred. No scrolling, no noise. Use it to center yourself, breathe, plan, reflect, and focus. A calm beginning cultivates a calm mind, and a calm mind quietly moves mountains. Mastering time is not just about tasks and schedules. It's about mastering the spaces in between, the transitions, the moments when you drift, the seconds you reach for your phone to escape discomfort, the tiny gaps that seem harmless, yet quietly steal your future. Do not underestimate them. They are small but cumulative. They are the difference between almost and done. Train yourself to notice those gaps, to breathe instead of distract, to return instead of escape. That is real discipline, not in grand gestures, but in the quiet, unseen moments. Every hour you spend sends a message to your future. This is what matters to me. So ask yourself, what are you telling your future right now? That you are serious about growth, or that you are content to drift? Be honest. Your calendar never lies. It always reflects your true priorities. You don't need more time. You need more intention. 10 focused minutes are worth more than 2 distracted hours. 1 hour of deep work outweighs a full day of scattered energy. The key is presence. When you are fully present, time expands. You feel it differently. You use it differently. Presence transforms ordinary hours into momentum, and momentum turns effort into transformation. Remember this. You cannot control time, but you can control your attention. Where attention goes, life follows. Attention is your steering wheel. If it drifts toward noise, your life drifts into chaos. If it stays fixed on growth, purpose, and calm, your path becomes clear. This is how time is mastered, not through speed, but through clarity. Be honest. You won't be perfect every day. You will waste time, slip into old habits, drift off course. That is okay. Awareness brings you back. Discipline keeps you steady. Consistency builds results. Each day is another chance to realign with your priorities. You do not need to start over. Just start again. Ask yourself, if time were currency, would I spend it this way? Would I give my prime hours to distractions? Trade my morning for endless scrolling? Waste focus on what doesn't move me forward? Or would I protect it? Invest in the life I truly want? Time is not your enemy. It is a mirror. Every day, it reflects who you are choosing to be. So stop saying, I don't have time. You have the same hours as everyone else. The real question is, what will I do with mine? How you spend your time is how you spend your life. Every moment used wisely builds a future that is calm, strong, and fully yours. There comes a point on every journey when the path forward seems unclear. Until you are willing to look backward, not to dwell, but to understand. That is when growth becomes real. No matter how much you plan, read, or achieve, you cannot move forward if you are still running from your own truth. We live in a world full of noise. It's easy to get lost in movement, to chase distractions and call it productivity, to post, to plan, to perform, but never to pause. And in all that noise, we lose the most essential connection, the one with ourselves. Facing your truth is an act of returning to that connection. It is not about perfection. It is about honesty. It is standing in front of the mirror of your life and saying, this is where I am, not where I wish I were, not where I pretend to be, just here, now. But honesty is uncomfortable. That is why most people avoid it, because truth doesn't flatter. It confronts. It exposes the patterns you keep repeating. It whispers what you already know, but resist admitting. It reveals the reality of your habits, your fears, your distractions, and the stories you tell yourself to avoid change. And that kind of honesty requires courage. To face your truth is to stand before the space between who you are now and who you have the potential to become, without judgment, without shame, but with unwavering responsibility. Because you cannot change what you refuse to see. You cannot heal what you continue to deny. And you cannot build a meaningful life while hiding behind excuses. Self-honesty is not just a concept. It is the cornerstone of transformation. Every breakthrough starts with truth, not motivation, not inspiration, just raw, unfiltered awareness. Ask yourself right now, what am I pretending not to notice? Which truths am I avoiding because they demand change? Where am I out of alignment with the person I claim I want to be? These are uncomfortable questions, but they are essential. Growth does not begin with more effort. It begins with more honesty. Once you face your truth, clarity replaces confusion. Guilt fades. Action becomes natural. Admitting you've been wrong is not weakness. It is strength. It is strength to say, I haven't been giving my best. It is strength to say, I've been avoiding what truly matters. It is strength to say, I can do better and I will. Honesty does not break you. It frees you. It allows you to stop reacting. Stop waiting for life to change. Stop handing your power away. Truth puts control back in your hands. Most people spend years crafting stories around fear. I'm not ready. I don't have time. I'll change when things calm down. These are not truths. They are shields, comfort disguised as logic. And every time you repeat them, the cage grows stronger. The real truth is simpler. You are capable now. You are just afraid. You are waiting for certainty in a world that will never give it to you. Freedom does not come from safety. It comes from honesty. Facing your truth lets you cut through the noise. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opportunity fits your path. Not every person belongs in your future. You stop chasing validation and start choosing alignment. You stop trying to look right and start living real. That is when your energy shifts. You stop forcing. You start flowing. You feel lighter because you no longer carry the weight of pretending. Facing the truth also means forgiveness. Forgive yourself for the times you stayed silent, for the chances you didn't take, for the years you hid from your own potential. You didn't fail. You were learning. You were becoming aware. And awareness is never wasted. Now you know better. Now you can do better. Self-forgiveness is not a race in the past. It is releasing its hold over your present. You are not your mistakes. You are the person who learned from them. Living in truth means stopping the negotiation with excuses. It means stopping the wait for the perfect moment. It means stopping the blame game and taking the lead in your own responses. When you tell yourself the truth, you stop spinning stories about why you can't. You start asking, how can I? Growth begins in that simple shift from avoidance to action. And yes, truth can sting at first. It can disrupt comfort. It can shake your foundations. But that pain is not destruction. It is a detox. It is a shedding of illusions that never served you. When the discomfort fades, what remains is peace. A quiet, unshakable peace that comes only when you stop lying to yourself. Because peace does not come from perfection. It comes from being real. So breathe. Be still. Ask yourself gently, what am I hiding from? What if I stopped pretending everything is fine and started being honest about what needs to change? You don't need the full plan. You just need truth. Once you face it, everything else becomes clear. Remember, truth is not the end. It is the beginning. It is not about guilt. It is about growth. It is not about shame. It is about strength. The moment you stop running from yourself is the moment your strength returns. The moment you face your truth is the moment your future begins to unfold. So look in the mirror, not with judgment, but with clarity. Whisper to yourself, I see you and I am ready to grow. Because truth is not your enemy. It is the path forward. You've studied enough. You've planned enough. You've thought enough. Now it's time to prove it with movement. Because change doesn't begin when you talk about it, or write it down, or feel inspired for a fleeting moment. Change begins when you act, when you take a single, deliberate step toward the person you say you want to become. Most people live trapped between two worlds, the world of intention and the world of execution. They dream, they plan, they promise themselves someday. But someday never comes. Only today exists. Only now matters. The truth is simple. You act or you remain stuck. Action is not flashy. It's quiet. It's persistent. It's choosing to rise when comfort begs you to stay down. It's the decision to move forward when no one is watching, when no one notices, when no one applauds. But you do. This is where transformation happens. Not in the spotlight, but in the stillness. Your intentions are meaningless until they manifest in behavior. You cannot think your way to confidence. You build it by keeping your promises to yourself. You cannot wish your way to discipline. You earn it through repetition, through the daily choice to act, especially when it's inconvenient, especially when you don't feel like it. Motivation is fleeting. It fades. Discipline, however, builds identity. Here's the truth. Every action you take casts a vote for the person you are becoming. Every time you follow through, you say to yourself, I am reliable. I am consistent. I am growing. Every time you break your word, you send the opposite message. I cannot trust myself. Your mind keeps score. Your body remembers. Progress is emotional. It is not just what you do, but what you prove to yourself you can do. And belief is built through evidence. Evidence created by your actions. The difference between those who grow and those who remain the same is not luck, talent, or intelligence. It is consistency. Successful people don't wait until they feel ready. They simply begin. They don't wait for motivation. They create momentum. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They work with what they have. Because action doesn't require perfection. It requires commitment. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel prepared. Stop waiting for someone else to push you. The truth is, no one is coming. This is your life, your path, your responsibility. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, you teach your brain that delay is acceptable. Every time you act now, you rewire your mind for progress. You begin to trust yourself again. And that trust, that is power. Action is honesty in motion. Proof that you mean what you say. If you want to change your life, don't start with a new plan. Start with a new standard. Stop promising yourself more. Start delivering more. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to explain it. Just do it. Quietly, consistently, day after day. Discipline is not about intensity. It's about continuity. It's what you maintain when no one is watching. It's what you hold on to when excitement fades. Think about this. You've already waited long enough. You've already made enough excuses. You've already seen the cost of delay. Now see what happens when you go all in. When you stop dipping your toes and finally step into the water. When you stop saying I'll try and start saying I will. Effort doesn't lie. If results aren't showing, either your consistency is off or your honesty with yourself is lacking. The good news, you can change that right now. Action doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Start exactly where you are. Take the resources you already have. Move with what's possible in this moment. Small actions accumulate. Gentle, deliberate steps shape monumental change. Clear your surroundings. Write a single thought. Walk for 10 minutes. Sketch the morning ahead. Speak one truth you've been avoiding. Each tiny win deposits into your inner confidence, and over time, it compounds into an unshakable belief. You can consume countless books. You can absorb endless advice. None of it matters if you don't translate it into action. Knowledge alone does not transform you. Action does. That is the distinction between understanding and becoming. Understanding is safe. Becoming is uncomfortable. Yet, discomfort is the only path to growth. Don't just collect wisdom. Embody it. Let every choice reflect what you've learned. That is where true power lies. And when you stumble, because you will, don't reset your journey. Begin again. Progress is never about perfection. It is about returning stronger with every step. Every small effort you make through resistance builds resilience. Every act of persistence strengthens your foundation. And strength earned through effort is everlasting. So here's your reminder. Speak less. Move more. Prove your intentions through action. Rise earlier. Follow through. Keep your commitments. Be the living proof of your own words. When your deeds align with your intentions, motivation is no longer needed. You become it. The world does not need another dreamer. It needs a doer. Someone who embodies integrity, acts with quiet power, and understands that the shift from one day to day one is simply a decision. Make that decision. Now. Not tomorrow, not later. Now. Take one step that proves you mean it. Your results will not come from promises or thoughts. They will come from repeated action until acting becomes your identity. One day, you will look back and realize your life wasn't transformed in a single moment. It changed in 1,000 small, deliberate ones. Moments where you acted instead of waiting. That is how your best self is created. Not through words, but through truth, discipline, and consistent effort until it becomes who you are. Breathe deeply. You've reached the end of this chapter, but in reality, it is only the beginning. Everything you've heard matters only if you live it. Transformation does not arrive in a single gesture. It grows through quiet, consistent choices made every day, when no one is watching, when no applause arrives, when it is just you and the voice within saying, keep moving, keep showing up. You've learned ownership. You've learned to stand, to act, to face your truths, to structure your time, to live with integrity even when it is difficult. But none of it matters until you declare this moment different, until you stop saying someday and start saying today. Your potential does not wait. Your future does not wait. And deep inside, you know you've waited long enough. A stronger, wiser, calmer version of yourself already exists, not out there, but within, waiting for you to choose it. You don't need perfection. You only need consistency. You don't need fearlessness. You need to move forward despite fear. Growth is not the absence of fear. It is deciding that fear will no longer make the choices for you. From this moment forward, let your life be proof. Let your actions speak louder than intentions. Wake with purpose. Speak with honesty. Work with focus. Rest with peace. Show up, not for applause, not for validation, but because it is who you are becoming. And when you fail, as you inevitably will, do not hide. Learn. Rise. Every return builds a foundation of a stronger self. Success is not born from perfection. It is forged through persistence. This was never just another audiobook. It was not simply words layered over music. It was an invitation to remember who you are beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the habits that no longer serve you. Everything you've heard was a reminder that growth is not dramatic. It is deliberate. It is not loud. It is disciplined. And it does not happen someday. It happens the moment you decide that you are done living on autopilot. Long after this recording ends, your life will continue to move forward. The real transformation will not happen in these minutes of listening. It will happen tomorrow morning, in the way you wake up, in the way you think, in the standards you choose to hold, in the promises you decide to keep. Because success is not something you chase. It is something you embody. It shows up in small integrity, in quiet consistency, in choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort again and again. One day, you will look back at the season of your life and recognize it as the turning point. Not because everything changed overnight, but because you changed. Because you decided to raise your standards. Because you stopped negotiating with excuses. Because you finally understood that the life you want will only respond to the person you become. And from that moment on, things begin to shift. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to speak with more certainty. You begin to move with more clarity. Not because life got easier, but because you became stronger. That is the quiet power of alignment. If this message resonated with you, don't let it stay here. Carry it forward. Let it shape your next decision. Let it guide your next morning. Let it influence the way you show up when no one is watching. And if you found value here, continue this journey with us on Prime Audiobooks, where growth is not rushed, success is not glorified, and transformation is built with calm strength and disciplined focus. Because your mind becomes what you consistently feed it. Your habits become who you consistently are. And your future becomes what you consistently choose. This is not the end. It is the beginning of a higher standard, a clearer direction, a stronger self. Success does not start someday. It does not start when life feels fair. It does not start when fear disappears. It starts the moment you decide. And that moment is always now. Thank you for listening to Prime Audiobooks. Now, go live what you've learned.